Hey guys, Davey here live from Tarzana, California because I just got done coming out of class. I'm going to film school that's near LA, and this is the only time I'm able to do my review for the mid-season premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because when the episode premiered, I was at work and I didn't get home until very, very late. And then by the time I finished watching the episode, it was like almost 2 in the morning. I was tired. I was like, I can't do this. So I resorted to filming it here right after class. So pardon the format. I don't usually have my television showing a shot from the episode or the usual lighting, the usual format. So I'm pretty sure you guys are just as fine and are okay with it. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the mid-season premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It has returned from its mid-season break with the episode entitled Bouncing Back, appropriately titled, and spoilers for the episode will follow. And it was a good episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. that did the same thing that S.H.I.E.L.D. always does, where they jumble different stories together. They go back and forth doing the same, going between different storylines, but they strike a balance of tackling all these different plot points while at the same time having them all be relevant to one another and not have one step over the other, despite some being more exciting than the others. In this week's episode, we saw Coulson trying to track down Gideon Malik because he holds him responsible for Rosalind's death, so he's trying to get closure there. And he kind of got that in the mid-season finale, where he finally put an end to Ward, and I'll talk about him in a second. But now he's trying to go for the actual Hydra head, one of the many Hydra heads that need to be cut off. And it was interesting to see him trying to track him down using the Tahiti machine on Von Strucker's kid in order to get something out of him, though he's in a vegetative state. You even have a cameo by President Ellis from Iron Man 3 coming in here talking to Coulson. But even though we saw him get to that secret place, picking up the phone and tracking Gideon Malik somehow and shutting down his offices of major income, he never really went anywhere with that. You know, I was expecting him to have like an exact location of where Gideon Malik is and plotting like an attack on him, but that didn't happen. So it was kind of an end game there. I didn't feel like we went anywhere with Coulson's little mission there to trying to track him down there, except for a potential hint of S.H.I.E.L.D. tying in with Captain America Civil War, because I did the math, and the finale of this season will happen about 1, maybe 2 weeks after Civil War comes out in theaters. So I'm like, how are they gonna, because the plot for Civil War can definitely have an effect on the story for S.H.I.E.L.D. It's that type of thing. Like, just like the last Captain America movie did, I feel like Civil War can definitely have some kind of effect on S.H.I.E.L.D. It's not like Ant-Man, where it's like its own little thing in that part of the universe, so I don't expect them to cross paths. Maybe a reference here and there, which they definitely did with Ant-Man, but nothing too substantial. Whereas Civil War, I feel like something will definitely take place, not only with the way they worded the dialogue at the beginning, where President Ellis comes in and says, I'm giving you permission to act privately. That's a theme, very strong theme that gets tackled in Civil War. And furthermore, at the end we learned that the new head of the ATCU is General Talbot, or was he General Talbot, or Talbot, who is heavily associated with Talbot? General Thunderbolt Ross, who we definitely know is going to be reprised by William Hurt in Captain America Civil War. So I know for a fact those two are going to be tied in somehow, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that played out. And to me, that was the most interesting part of Coulson's involvement in this episode. On the other end, Gideon Malik didn't really do much as well, except for providing scenes with what was I was definitely interested to catch up with in the mid-season premiere after the last year's finale, was Ward, or at least Ward's body being inhabited by this alien, which has been revealed to be called Hive, who is an actual Inhumans villain from the comics. And we didn't really see an awful lot of him. There were literally, I think, just 2 scenes of him eating a lot of raw meat and being ominous. And at first, it kind of bugged me, but then afterwards, I was okay with it because as much as I was as much as I was anticipating seeing him, I was cool with the 1 or 2 scenes that we got because I actually ended up making him a little bit more scary. And I love that ending scene of him disintegrating. You can start seeing the skeleton on his hand. I'm like, oh, that's very cool. Looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So the main story of this week's episode was this incident in Colombia where weapons are going missing, and S.H.I.E.L.D. believes that an Inhuman is involved because the weapons are disappearing out of nowhere. They go to Colombia, and it turns out that there's this woman who has been given powers of super speed, which was really cool. But the most surprising aspect about this whole entire mission was her bond with both Joey and Mac. Mac with their talk about faith, which is a new thing that we learned about Mac, and that adds to his character. And also Joey being more proactive within the team, not only serving, using his powers to help the team out during the mission by melting the guns and whatnot, but also being a translator and having some kind of connection with this woman whose actual name I can't remember, but by the end of the episode she is dubbed by Mac Yo-Yo, who I'm assuming is also another character from the Inhumans comic storyline. Unfortunately, this whole mission ends. The climax itself, how they infiltrate that facility and they take on that other Inhuman villain who is able to freeze people with his vision. And I love the fact that Bobby called him out on that and calling him Medusa. I'm like, yeah, that's Medusa's power. That was very cool. And he was a very intimidating villain by the look of it. Having the glasses cover his eyes, that just made for a really cool villainous character. He gets captured by assuming Hydra, so he's probably going to come back in some capacity. But this whole mission, despite having a very exhilarating climax with Yo-Yo doing her thing and everybody just taking all the people out, it led up to somewhat of a disappointing resolution because not only does Yo-Yo go back to Colombia with her fancy new Apple Watch, so hopefully they could bring her back in some capacity as well, just like that Medusa character, but Joey quits. Just when Joey was at his prime, they have him quit because by the end of this episode, Sky has this line like, maybe you can go back to having dinner with your mom on Sundays. And at first I thought, oh, okay, they just put that thought in his head to hopefully give him some kind of arc in this back half of the episode. But then in the next scene, her and Lincoln are talking and they're like, oh yeah, he's packing his bags, he's leaving. I'm like, what? You're just writing him off the show just like that? Which brings up another little problem I have with the episode is that there's many moments throughout the writing that felt very, very much a TV show. Like they're transparent enough that I can see the writers and the producers trying to work around things just to write them into the show. Like I can see them typing. And what I'm talking about is this moment with Joey. Something tells me that the actor just didn't want to be in the show anymore. I don't know why he wouldn't want to, but I feel some other kind of involvement at hand here, where at first they just wanted that line in there of him wanting to go back to having dinner with his mom on Sundays, and that was just going to be a character development arc throughout this back half of the season. But then the next scene of her saying, oh yeah, he's gone, that to me just felt like they wrote that in there because the actor probably just quit or something happened that the actor just couldn't do it anymore and they wrote his character off just like that. It just feels so artificial. And many other moments like that happened throughout the episode. Coulson getting his new fleshy hand, they're like, oh, it's super realistic. Yeah, Clark Gregg probably just got tired of wearing the glove all the time and keeping it stiff, which was a nice little detail that I really admired. But now they're like, okay, I'm tired. Kind of makes sense. That's the one that I have the least problems with. But the one that the ones that I had most problems with was Joey quitting the team and other lines of dialogue that felt very much exposition, like, oh, we got to catch the audience up, so we need to have characters mention things that we saw in the mid-season finale and we saw in the previously on S.H.I.E.L.D. and they have to re-say it here. You guys don't have to do that. You really don't have to do that. And that happened throughout the episode. But overall, a very good episode with an awful lot of intrigue. And I'm definitely expecting yeah, Joey might be out, but I'm definitely expecting Yo-Yo to return, not only because of her new fancy watch, to be able to call in for backup or to be called in for backup, but also because of the opening shot that is actually a little bit of a flash forward showing space and some kind of craft up in space, and inside of it we see the little cross necklace that Yo-Yo actually has around her, floating in zero gravity, along with like drops of water and some kind of sleeve of some kind that has a shield patch on it. One that resembles one that is similar to the type that Agent May would often wear on her missions prior to S.H.I.E.L.D. going rogue, and now she just mostly wears black with like jackets or something like that. But it resembles an awful lot of like the type that she would normally wear. So that they're setting something up that's gonna happen in the season finale, and I know for a fact Yo-Yo as well as the rest of the team are gonna become involved, and as well as Hive, considering that this is in outer space and we're dealing with outer space material with the Inhumans. So an episode filled with intrigue, balancing an awful lot of plots that some came out slightly lackluster, while others were very exciting and are setting things up that are exciting and are bigger things to come within the last half of the season. So I give Bouncing Back a solid 8 out of 10. So let me know what you guys thought of this week's episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. What do you think they might be setting up for not only the Inhuman storyline, but also their possible connection with Civil War? And I will try to have next week's review be in my room, just like it's always been. I apologize for the format, but you know, with the way my schedule conflicts with one another, this is what I have to do. Hopefully you guys are okay with it, but I'll try my best to go back to the old style. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.